good morning and welcome to the VSA Capital 5 Minute Morning Miner on Thursday, the 2nd of October. It's myself and Paul Rankin, and a few actually some really good bits of news today, and mainly from our TSX clients. It is actually on the TSX where all the action is happening in mining stocks at the moment. I think we all know that one or two stocks in the FTSE like Fresnillo and Dover Gold are absolutely flying as the gold and silver price goes up. But the real action for the smaller mining companies is all taking place on the TSX because AIM has sort of run out of, to be honest with you, most of the good mining stocks that we used to have. It's really disappointing. But Paul, let's get cracking. Let's start with Midnight Sun, which has had some very good assays, but the stock had been performing incredibly well. So it's actually just come off the top of what was very good news. But talk us through the news.
Yes, that's right. They've released first assays on two holes in its a multi-hole current drilling program for the Dumbwa target, and this is for sulfide copper in the Solwezi project there in Zambia. These first two holes are first of a series of holes in this drilling program to test a 20-kilometer long north-northeast structural trend is showing soil copper enriched geochem as well as geophysical association. The drill holes have found shear zone hosted breccia, which contains the copper minerals bornite, chalcopyrite, and malachite, and in some of these intervals over tens of meters. Example of assays at 0.15% copper over just shy of 40 meters, including 1.13% copper over 7 meters, and then 0.48% copper over 26 meters. So this does confirm that this structural hosted breccia is containing sulfide, and it is indicative that it's probably to continue to depth as well. Now, these holes are 500 meters apart, as reported here, so they'll definitely be testing in between as well as a long strike of this structural corridor in order to demonstrate how many faulted breccias are there in width, and then what kind of continuity and length can they get on the copper mineralization. So if both of those prove to be as the geophysics and geochem suggest, the volume will ultimately be very big.
Yeah, and look, obviously there's a nearby process plant that is short resource, isn't there, Paul? So this is a case of find it, dig it, sell it, which is the most effective way of mining, really.
It's definitely. Once you've demonstrated size, then for any kind of operation close by, which is running short on reserves and resources, it becomes a tasty target.
Yep. Now, let's carry on with the TSX stocks that we act for. One that we've talked a lot about, we really, again, have a lot of time for it, and it was up positive, is Myriad Uranium, which obviously is in Wyoming. So it's uranium in the United States, which is just what you want at the moment. Uranium price calls are starting to pop up now, $83. Talk us through that one, Paul.
Yes, Myriad Uranium has been able to get a copy of a Bendix corporate report that was written in the early 1980s, summarizing over $100 million worth of exploration work that Union Carbide and Anaconda had done on the Copper Mountain project. This data set is bigger and demonstrates a much broader set of information than Myriad has had up to this point. And it also gave an estimate of target size, both upon the Copper Mountain project area that Myriad has control of, as well as a wider district assessment of uranium potential as well. On the Myriad ground, it came up with an estimate or associated with the Myriad ground of something close to 245 million pounds, which would grade to 100 to 500 ppm uranium. And district-wise, it put the number at 655 million pounds. Now, of course, these are non-compliant and they are just target numbers rather than assessed numbers. So keep that in mind. But it also identified structural targets for Myriad that Myriad hasn't been aware of to this point in time because there is no drill data associated with it. and they had also put a number around what they thought, or Bendix writer thought, would be the sediment-hosted uranium potential on the Teepee Trail Formation, which is the offwash or over covering formation, later formation off of this primary mineralization that Myriad is otherwise testing. So very good news there that they have this more comprehensive information in order to work with.
Yeah, and then finally, probably also on the TSX, but one that we've talked about quite a lot, one that I've visited recently, one where we've been doing a road show at the start of this week. Guanajuato Silver, they've done a bought deal of $30 million fundraise, which actually they've upsized to 43.5 million Canadian dollars. This is as a bought deal. Their units, 50 Canadian dollars with a warrant.
50 Canadian cents.
Yeah, well, Canadian
cents.
cents, dollars, whatever you want to call it. You get 100 cents to the dollar pool.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's all good news. I mean, they've raised this money. People want to support it. Clearly, they've now built up the treasury to quite a level. It probably gives you a pretty subtle hint that maybe they've got something lined up that is in their target, shall we say. And I think it'd be fair to say that there is still consolidation to be done around Guanajuato City, particularly in the process plants, and that could have a major kick up. So although the stock's performed pretty well this year, it's one which actually I still see a lot of upside in. Any comment, Paul?
You covered it pretty well there. It is an 87 million unit placement, and the interesting point is because of the buoyancy of the silver market, they had announced the 30 million raise, and then just within hours, the indication of interest was such that they had raised it to 43.5 million just yesterday.
All right, so that was a bit of a TSX special today, but that's where all the action is taking place. So make sure that you've got a brokerage account, if that's a rather American term, that can deal in Canadian stocks, because that's where all the activity is if you want to play mining. Very good. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks.
Very good.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.